opportunities in the sport, in part thanks to Salford.
I look further away now. Is there anything else to say about Salford?
No.
We'll see what happens when the statement is made by...
I suppose we should check that there isn't an embargoed statement just come out. It was 6:30 the other week where we got a statement we weren't...
Here was another statement about the thing that is happening. I don't think the internet's working today. It's just going to be one of those things. But that's fine. We can just talk about what else has gone on. What was the other big news this weekend? Because everything was really Salford related. Has anything else happened?
Some games were played.
Yeah, I don't think there was any other... It will reply to this podcast in the notes, in the comments when it's not working, and say, "Oh, what happened with all these things?" And we'll go, "I've forgotten about those." There's been no internationals or any other drama.
Payne has.
Yeah, yes. Well, this is the other thing, isn't it? He's going to
has declared for Samoa.
Samoa, yes, which is good.
And there'll be others.
The interesting thing is, of course, this is happening.
I don't want to get his name. Is it Tonga? Because was it Christian Wolf that announced it?
Oh, we don't want to mix those up.
But the fact that they're playing each other in the Pacific Championships and there's going to be a sellout game in Brisbane, and that is more appealing to him and his heritage than playing for Australia. That's fantastic. That shows that the international game is moving forward.
The problem is here. Is we do it the other way, don't we? Is we steal players. Not saying we steal players from Wales or Ireland or whatever, because they're born in England. They are English players, but we do take away players from the other nations who probably need them more than we do. Certainly in the case of like Mickey McAlorum, and it's like, nah. But yes. But it is exciting, and now the problem for us as England is. Do we end up being left behind because Samoa's going to get stronger and Tonga's going to get stronger?
But the argument goes back to probably what was being written about in 1996. If you have a shorter season, so you get better quality games of higher intensity, and you get the opportunity to build in a mid-season international, which might be take Wales, Ireland, Scotland, England, and France. With players playing for them because they know the calendar and they know it's meaningful and they can make a Haas-type decision to play for the nation of their heritage. So Morgan Knowles can be Welsh, James McDonald can be Irish, and that way you can build up those nations. But the only way they would agree to do that is first if they were playing meaningful matches against, let's say, England.
Yeah.
But it led to a Great Britain selection every 4th year, and that Great Britain team only ever went on tour to either New Zealand or Australia or the Pacific Islands, and that way you are playing to be the best of the best. But the great thing about, I think, Tino Fasamalawi is going to be the next to declare that he's going to play for his heritage and not for Australia. There's going to be at least a couple more. Billy Smith has come out and said he wants to be considered for England.
Oh, see the one who's
he's
talking to Sean Wayne,
Roosters centre.
Yeah.
And like, if we didn't have to rely on players that could play for other, Tobrish, as in he's played for Ireland in a World Cup.
Warrington Wolves reserves Toby King.
But if we weren't, if we're looking for centres to replace him because he might be in Sean Wayne's mind for playing in the Ashes series, we could perhaps have heritage player Billy Smith playing.
Yeah.
And if you spread out the talent amongst all the nations, you are actually increasing the ability of those nations to be competitive when the next World Cup comes around, and you're building a product in mid-season that has meaning. Because ask any Welsh qualified, Irish qualified, I don't know if we've got enough for Scotland at the moment, but any heritage players that will play for those nations, what it would mean to play against England, you've got that rivalry.
That's what we need to do. As we saw with those Wales, Scotland and England games in the women's recently, if we can have some kind of 5 or 6 nations or whatever, build it slowly and just have it as a... Because we've obviously got this break now mid-season in the women's game that we've created. We're going to get more out of having those kind of games than the games we're going to mention in a moment. You've already mentioned with the scores.
I would say as well that the 2000 World Cup Irish team, and in some respects... previous Irish teams that have relied on heritage, they're great teams. If you could have kept them together from the 2000 World Cup and we were 25 years down the line and Ireland had been kept together with predominantly heritage players, they would be a force. They wouldn't necessarily at the moment be a Tonga or Samoa, but they'd be a force. And at those games, let's say in Dublin, Ireland against England, people would be not only really looking for it, you'd want to go.
I'm enjoying people tweeting us because they know the internet's broken, which is my phone, and saying it's down to Salford. So this shirt is cursed. This shirt behind me, which I'm pointing at on the podcast, you can't see this, is cursed. The women's wheelchair first, because the thing is, right, we're talking about Salford forfeiting their game. Oh, they haven't forfeited it yet. Whatever happened, but the same happened in the Wheelchair Super League, which you mentioned last week. Halifax and Leeds did not happen. Yeah. Different circumstances, but we only know half the story, so it's not our story to tell at the minute.
Which we also know hasn't come as a surprise to anybody because it was pointed out at the beginning of the season.
Whatever, yeah, when the fixtures came out. So, but hopefully that game will get played, and if it's not, well, Leeds will take the punishment because it, in effect,
or Halifax will be awarded the points.
It's I don't want to say it's Leeds' fault, but it is Leeds' fault in that sense. So whatever. I'm not going to upset the people at Leeds.
To be fair, they had an alternative arrangement that involves family in the club that has been known and they highlighted. But we are talking Halifax and Leeds. They're not a million miles away. They could play midweek.
Like how Hull KR can't play this week because some band's playing at their ground.
Yeah. You can build around it.
Can. But well done to Edinburgh Giants, who beat Sheffield Eagles 48-28. Their first win in Super League. First Scottish team to win in Super League.
Yep.
So well done to them on Saturday. And well done to Hull as well, to bounce back from losing 98-0 to Leeds, to almost knock off the London Roosters, the Challenge Cup finalists, but a win for London, 30 points to 26. Hopefully we're hearing from their coach on this programme in the next weeks or whatever. I was going to say months. I'm sure we'll get him on before months ago.
London Roosters, who at the moment are top of the league, having a laugh, but don't know what Halifax are doing.
No, so it's all interesting there. Women's Super League, St Helens 48, Huddersfield 0. Again, there's no surprises here. Barrow 0, Leeds 78. I guess the measure of, or the margin of victory is surprising there, but again, we're at that time of the season, aren't we? York 86, Warrington plus guests 0.
Warrington including guests.
Including
perhaps
they
should have played. They should have
played
played plus guests. They should have maybe tried playing 18 players.
As I tweeted very early in that game, #player welfare. What's the difference? What is the difference? And Lee 0, Wigan 72. So the Wigan bandwagon rolls on. Also this weekend, let me go for the Championship and League One. Oh, there wasn't any League One, was there? It was off. So why didn't Salford just nick a load of players from Gull or whatever? Brett Ferris play for him or something?
I don't think it's quite as easy as that.
Well, I'm sure it's not.
But there are things you can do. I mean, if the end...
Would Brett Ferris play in big player welfare? Because he's got loads of experience, but he's also old.
Well...
He says someone who's younger than him. I'm picking him out because he's mentioned in the magazine.
The thing is, do we know yet if there's going to be 8s at the end of the League One season? Because if there isn't, there's going to be some players available who could finish the season in Super League.
Newcastle play... Oh, Newcastle, right? They've lost all their games this season.
Welfare.
Is that player welfare issue?
It's a very young team.
Is that a player welfare issue? Because they're playing against, in League One, experienced players at some of these clubs. So what's... This is the problem with the whole thing. It's where's the line? Because if we're saying player welfare, then half these games, all the women's games have been called off. Castleford Leeds should have been called off. St Helens Huddersfield should have been called off.
You're getting in the realms of
making things up, strawman arguments now.
Of Mr. Studd's argument that when it gets to 50-0, the game should end
with nets. Barrow 14, Widnes 20. That sounded like a good game. If I'd have not been working, I could have paid to stream that and I would have been entertained, I'm sure. As it was, Batley 18, Oldham 22. Super League ready Oldham 22. Only just
came from behind to win,
Doncaster 30, Featherstone 42. So Doncaster celebrating their birthday today with a defeat. Wigan celebrated 5,000
That's
games.
a good win for Featherstone.
So we're not talking about Featherstone in Super League, are we? It's strange.
Well, as you'll be able to read, Featherstone... Well, Paul doesn't think... Well, Featherstone know they're not ready yet, but they'd like to know what the criteria are to be ready and what opportunity they're going to have.
Do it without any money. Halifax 48, Hunslet 10, Hunslet, again, player welfare. Get beat every week. York 42, London 16. 7 million games in a row now for the York City Knights. Not York City Knights, sorry, York Knights.
16. Club record.
Is that club record starting in 2020 or
Well,
1870, whatever? And Toulouse 58, Sheffield 6. And
Sheffield made the mistake there of going ahead.
And Sheffield, of course, who now are completely without Mark Aston because he's left.
Yes, who again, we paid tribute to him. I think when his court case didn't go ahead, and we said, you know, what a figure for that club and what he'd done in so many different aspects, and the fact that that is now severed. But you know, player, coach, administrator, commercial director. It's been an astonishing commitment to that club from Mark. So if he is going to retire, good luck to him. If he is going to pop up somewhere else in a different capacity, then again, you know, wish him nothing but the best.
Player welfare.
Well, yeah, that's why he's not involved at the moment.
Thursday night in Super League, Warrington 30, Catalans 22. What a bizarre game. I tipped Warrington by 10, I think it was, so I was obviously very disappointed at the end. But how did this game? What happened? Catalans looked not in control necessarily, but
it was a try just before half time. If Warrington had gone in 22-6 down with the crowd booing, there's massive pressure on them. The fact that it was 22-12 and there was that element of doubt suddenly in the Catalan mind that they were going to hold on. If you remember the game in Perpignan where Warrington won it in the last minute from a George Williams break and kick, I think it changed the dynamic of the game because Warrington knew that if they did score at the start of the second half, they're suddenly within touching distance. Second half, Catalan was the equivalent of committing rugby suicide.
Was the injury to Makinson as important as?
No,
because he's a winger, isn't he?
He had a great half hour and he scored a hat trick and he was clearly looking for the ball. But injuries happen, and you know, an injury to a winger can be covered. They were just making great opportunities that if it hadn't been him on the end of it, it would have been somebody else. So the catch that he caught and put down, brilliant. Maybe only he could have done that. But no, if you're going to blame the absence of a winger on your pack collapsing, then it felt, watching it, like it was a psychological unravelling of a team that had forgotten how to win.
I don't want to pick on a player, so I'm not going to do. But I think Warrington are going to have buyer's remorse about Tarita Pangai Jr. after his performance.
Again, it comes down to what we've said. I don't know who Warrington are going to be next year. We don't know who's going to be there. We don't know how this Matt Duffy thing is going to end.
So what have he and Toby King done? Well, we think we know what Matt Duffy's done because everyone seems to know what's happened.
Yeah.
But now it's 2 weeks of this.
And it's also...
And we don't know if he's coming back next week or...
Well, they've got Huddersfield in the big game of the weekend.
Well, you may as well not give another week off then. Is it more of a punishment to play against Huddersfield? I don't know.
I do think that it's more of an issue of how have we got to the point where a marquee player is behaving in a way that he can't be selected for the team, and it's not a fitness thing.
No.
And I think again that underlines what some of the issues are at Warrington. And certainly, if you'd gone on that game after 39 minutes, you would have said it's all laid bare, and it has to change for next year. A win masks a little bit of that, perhaps, because it's all, they're still in mathematical contention for the six. It was on whilst Wigan and Hull KR was watching the best play the best, and the intensity was there. This was a game where you were almost watching it through your fingers.
Yeah.
Exciting because it was close.
Yeah.
And it's a comeback, and that's always a good story. And if you're a neutral, you would have watched that and gone, "Wow, you know that's really enjoyable." But it's a real worry for Catalan play Castleford this weekend.
There's some terrible games this week.
There's some great
games. There's good ones and some not so good.
But then that's what we've had this week, haven't we? We've had two really good games. We've had one game that was close and exciting, but wasn't great in terms of quality, and we've had two what would have been three terrible games. It's going to be the same this weekend.
If I described Dean Hadley as Hull KR's Liam Farrell, would that be fair? In terms of he just does his job, does it well, and he's the glue that holds everything else together.
For me, because I saw him more than I've seen Liam Farrell. He's Hull KR's Carl Ablett. You've always got to have a player
which is a
whereby you list the greats, and it's all the ones that do the stuff that you see. So it's the Maguire, Sinfield, Burrow. Get all of that, but they can't do what they have been able to do if there's somebody not doing everything that they need to do to put them in the position to do it, and they don't want to or need to take the credit, and their name isn't mentioned first of all. In that great Leeds team, Carl Ablett was that kind of player, and I think Dean Hadley is the Hull KR current equivalent.
I realised what happened at Salford this week. They ran out of letters. Wigan's squad numbers on Friday: 1, 2, 22, 4, 5, 3, 7, 8, 9, 16, 21, 12 and 13. That's pretty much a full strength team. But everyone's going to say, no Bevan French. And look what happens without Bevan French. Wigan don't fire. And Hull KR, they beat them.
I think it's a very simplistic way of looking at that. One is...
That's why I came up with it.
No, I mean, not you. It's a very simplistic way of it being looked at as to why Wigan are not playing as well as they can at the moment. They didn't win. Clearly, when Bevan French is out there with his X-factor ability and it takes the pressure off Jai Field to produce, they're a different team. But the issues that Wigan have got at the moment is not that Bevan French isn't there, it's that their forwards aren't playing well enough and with sufficient intensity. And the other side of that argument is Hull KR did. And the only mystery in the first half of that game was why Hull KR weren't further ahead. And you did think as the game wore on, is that going to come back and hurt them?
Almost.
The grand final was 1 try. This was 2 tries. And it's close. There's not going to be a lot between them on the score. But in terms of everything that would be an indicator as to who was dominant in that game, it was Hull KR. Everybody, particularly over the west side of the Pennine, said, "Oh, you can't rule Wigan out. They're still going to be the team you've got to be," and that may well be true. But at the moment, if the grand final was next week, you possibly wouldn't be backing them.
Course and distance. That's what Wigan have got, and will. Fred has put 40 grand on Man United winning the Premier League, which you might as well have put that into Salford for all it's going to do him.
I think the other sort of interesting thing about Friday night was that both teams had a real reason to win. Wigan needed to win to retain some kind of hold on the league leader shield and take it further down the line. I think Hull KR won it on Friday. I think 6 points ahead at this stage of the season. They're not going to get caught. They can lose a couple of games. They're still not going to get caught. So I think Wigan had to win to retain one of the trophies. They're now down to defending 1 from the 4 that they started out with. And through no fault of their own, that was going to be 3. For Hull KR, they had to win because they needed to get over Wigan because they know they're probably going to be playing Wigan again at some point. Could even be at Old Trafford. And they need to know that psychologically in their armoury they can beat them in a big game. I think Wigan not being able to get over Hull KR and complete that pressure on them to still have a say in who determines the league leader shield. Now their second place is mathematically under threat. That's a big win for Hull KR. And Wigan's issues were more about not being able to exert physical dominance for long enough against a team that came out in that first half in particular and absolutely dominated them.
Players stopped diving. That's one thing to say.
That was bizarre. And was that done in jest, or was that?
I've no idea.
Some default position.
He's trying to con referees, and what I can't understand is when an incident happens, and the incident is Jared Warrior-Hargreaves hitting someone in the head with his elbow.
Yeah.
Which, again, 12 months ago, straight.
But at any time, that's been penalised and been a risk of being sent off.
Was there a penalty though? Was it just
no?
So, but then he's got banned because he's got the points and they've taken him over the threshold.
But he was banned because it was an incident worthy of disciplinary
But how can
action.
it not have been decided on the night by the video referee who had time to look at it? And I don't understand this is the frustration for people.
Yes.
Because it's not, we've got the right decision in the end, but we've got the right decision 2 days later. If he'd have been sent off at that point in the game, Wigan might have gone on.
Oh, absolutely.
It
would have affected Hull KR's rotation and all of that kind of thing. The bit I don't understand about that is I can fully appreciate in the heat of the battle a referee misses something, and the more you want your game to be sped up, the more opportunity you're going to have of things being missed. So it's that fine balance between, you know, we'll get on to Leeds and Castleford in a minute, but there were only 3 penalties in that game, and all 3 went to Castleford. I've never known a game where a team has won by 60 odd points and not had a penalty, because normally it's they who've got the momentum, they that want to speed the game up, they that are forcing the opposition into standing offside or doing whatever they can to disrupt it. So I think the more you speed the game up and the more referees are encouraged to allow the games to flow, which is what we want to see, the more you've got to accept there'll be things that they unintentionally miss. When an incident like that is then referred to a video referee who has ample time to look at it while the player's being treated from various different angles, I can't see how you can get that wrong and incompatible with the disciplinary looking at it 2 days later and the disciplinary going, yeah, we agree with all the fans that watched that. That's clearly an offence.
Before I forget, people were saying, "Oh, Salford and Wakefield's not on. Why don't Sky show a championship game?" They can't. You can't just do that. You can't just. They don't have the rights.
No,
but you just can't do that. They've signed a deal to show the elite competition. The second division is not the same competition.
And they
would have been up against another game.
I've got settings up at grounds.
Yeah.
It's like the old ISDN lines for radio. The points are where you accept. You go to Salford to film a game. It doesn't take that long to set up the cameras because you've already got a lot of the apparatus in place. You go to York, where you haven't had any of that. It's a much more costly and logistically difficult exercise.
Plus, if the championship clubs want TV coverage, they had a deal which they turned down, and rightly so, I believe, because it wouldn't have done them any good. You just got to go out there and do it yourself, like Barrow and like York are doing, and Featherstone and other clubs are going out there and either charging or doing it for free. You've got to do it yourself. Castleford 6, Leeds 64. Got a very exciting email last week saying groundbreaking news at Castleford. Oh, that is. They dug out that picture of Richard Wright on the.
We've broken ground.
No, just change the stadium name. Which I'm still going to call the Jungle or Weldon Road if you're really old. The one ball stadium.
They didn't
two balls.
They didn't pay any tribute to Menderhose, did they?
The good people at Menderhose.
Did they mend all the hoses? So now there's no hoses to mend.
I do love the fact that it's called the Jungle because of an obsolete website from 25 years ago.
Which fits in very nicely with the Tigers. Can I
Leeds
pose,
are back.
Can,
Leeds are back, Phil.
I don't know how good Leeds were because of the quality of opposition. What Leeds are doing is great at the moment, and I think that the performance of people like Presley Cassell and Ben Littlewood is the major positive coming out of that for Leeds.
How old are they?
Littlewood's early 20s and Cassell's 18.
18. Are we sure he's allowed to play? Because some big lads in that Ian. Joe Westerman, he's old.
Proper 18.
Joe Westerman, he's like 30 odd. You can't be playing against 18-year-old.
So I think where Leeds are at the moment, the fact that Brad Arthur's re-signed for them, the fact that the core of the players that they've got will be the core that play next year. They've got some young kids that can clearly add to the mix and not lower the intensity when they're in. That's one thing. Well done, Leeds.
Ryan Hall's back. He's got a couple of tries. Even he mentioned that on Twitter. I'm back now.
Second half was a touch and pass, but I think there's a correlation between Catalan and Castleford at the moment, who play each other in Perpignan on Saturday night. They both have got coaches, one in a temporary position, who are saying post-match, there's going to be a lot of change around here. 14 of these players are going next year, or a lot of players that think they're on contract won't be here next year if I have my way. It looks to me from the outside watching that is an incredibly demotivating factor for those players. All this talk that Joel Tompkins keeps saying, that Chris Chester mentioned as well, it's all about personal pride. If you're going to be a professional player, it's all about, I don't need to tell you, you need to go out there and perform your best. They're not playing, they're playing like a group of individuals, some of whom know that they're not going to be there, and they're either trying to find another deal quickly somewhere else, and I know the argument is, well, if they're trying to find a deal, they need to play a bit better than that, or they know where they're going next year, and they don't want to put in jeopardy a contract that's coming up in the future for somewhere where they know they're not wanted at the moment. And it's almost the same watching those two teams, it's almost the same. Because the change is going to be so huge. And if Chris was saying after the game, and he was brutally honest. Called his own team pathetic. If I have my way, even more people won't be here next year than know they're not going to be here next year. And you go, wow, you got to go into training on Monday and say we're going to Catalan. I could do with some extra effort out of you.
I mean, we'll say this about Huddersfield in a minute, but you may as well just pick the kids. And I know, and again, this is. But I'm not allowed to say that anymore. But you may as well give them a chance.
But I think both Catalan and Castleford now have got to the point where the players that aren't going to be there next year will need to know who they are because they won't be picked this week.
Can I send them on loan to Salford?
Well, they might as well.
Yeah.
I also think it's strange, and I wanted to ask Chris, but he seemed in the depths of despair. And who
it's a Wakefield lad looking after Castleford,
Who are we to intrude on his private grief?
Yes.
But obviously the one young player who they have great faith in and is clearly a talent and has signed a new 5-year contract is Jensen Windley. And he's played all of his junior career as a half-back. But yet he's been played in Super League at full-back. It's a really thankless position. He still scored their try, never gave in. He had a bit of, he's got some pace and some footwork about him. But that is a lonely place to play at fullback when you're young and you're not used to playing that role. It's fine if you've come through the academy and you've been the full, like Lloyd Kemp at Hull got a go, but he's used to playing in a position. He knows the nuances of that. Windley doesn't. And I just think, again, that it's sort of a bit unfair to expose him to that.
Leeds fourth in the table now. Only on points difference, thanks to Saints stuffing Salford in the first week of the season.
Well, yeah, but Leeds played Salford 3 times as well, so.
But Hull are in the top 6, and Lee have dropped down to 5th. Are Lee in crisis now? Is this what's happened?
They're not in crisis, but they've had 3 performances where Adrian Lam is saying, I'm a bit concerned about what I'm seeing, that we were very lucky to beat Warrington in the last minute. We gave too many opportunities for Leeds to beat us, and we didn't do enough in the game against Hull to kick on when we got it back to 12-all. And there's a lot of individual errors, and I'm going to have words with people. That's not where you want to be at the moment. You look at Saints, and they are ridiculously solid. Don't matter who they're playing, whether it's Huddersfield or I watched them at Wakefield the week before. First 20 minutes, they were impregnable. They've got that defensive steel back. And yeah, it'll get tested when they play Wigan or bigger games than they played this week. But what they've got is the form that they want to be in at this stage of the season. Leeds very much the same. Lee, I don't know if they peaked when they had those 3 big games. When they beat all of the teams around and they beat Wigan, they beat Hull KR. And I don't know that's taken out of them, and I don't know if their squad is big enough. And when you go on a slide towards the end of the season, it's hard to get back. The advantage for them is to play Salford this week.
Hopefully.
If indeed they play Salford this week.
Bad last 3 quarters of the game for fans of Leon Price because they couldn't show him on telly because because Will had gone off injured.
Wayne was at
I knew I was going to call him that.
Wayne was at Castleford.
Will had gone off injured. It's because his hair looks very much like Wayne. I don't know what's going on with Will Price's hair. I know I'm one to talk about this, but it's very concerning. Leon, have a word with him. But he didn't look like it was a serious injury because he sat in the crowd having a bit of a laugh towards
Well, he was on crutches and in a big boot, and I suspect he won't be playing this week. And again, they need Aidan Caesar back as soon as they can get him back. I don't think he's that far off, but how good is Zach Hardaker playing?
Well, this is the thing, Hardaker and Custer's the half-back partnership. Now, I know it's the job of the coach to build up their players. Sean Wayne's not going to pick Zach Hardaker. But because he can't pick Zach Hardaker.
But if he's the form player and he's got versatility and utility value.
Jake Connor's the form player and he ain't getting anywhere near the squad. Jake Connor doesn't have the baggage Zach Hardaker has with the England team.
But I think Zach Hardaker at international level is proven.
But he's also 30 what?
But is he playing as well now as he's ever played?
I don't think it matters.
Should he be in the mix?
I don't think it matters. I don't think he should be in the mix. Because it's definitely going backwards. Has he beaten Australia?
No, but if you've got injury worries, would he be a good bloke to have in the squad?
Well, if you pick like Josh Charlie ahead of him,
just with the way that he's playing,
he won't pick him.
No,
and
But I think as a player, you can't do any more than play as well as
No,
he's played
no.
over the last 4 or 5 weeks.
He's ahead of Lewis Dodd in the pecking order, I think.
How
is he?
How good are Lewis Martin and Harvey Bennett at the moment as well?
And is this part of their...
well, it's part
because
of their,
they played last year.
I think it is. I honestly think it is.
Got them up to speed. They're going well, Hull.
They are.
They're going well, Hull.
That's a big result for them beating.
Because they'd had that wobble, didn't they? They had that mid-season slump. They hadn't won at home, but now they've won 2 games at home now.
But also, it's when you go from 12-0 up and in control to 12-all, and you're watching it going, there's only going to be one winner from here, and they find a way to win and hold on. I think that's why John Cartwright was so effusive when the final whistle went.
That was great. I enjoyed that.
It's not like, he's not a kind of guy that would do it, but what he could see wasn't that they'd won a game. It's how they'd managed to win a game, look like they were losing the game, and come back and win a game again, and not have all your troops on board to do it. And I think that was a great win for Hull.
The Super League weekend finished on the telly with St Helens versus Huddersfield, 52-4. So over the whole day, it was 100 points to 4 for Saints, men and women, against Huddersfield. For all that, there's no point going over the Catalans being no away fans criticism, and again for a second time in recent weeks at St Helens they've closed the away end. I think they did it against Wakefield as well, so I can't just, but well, at least it saved Damon McManus some money. Have you heard his revolutionary scheme? Did you watch him on the telly yesterday?
No, I didn't see it.
They're going to play everyone at home and everyone away. That's the revolutionary scheme.
And is that going to generate more income?
Well, apparently it might do, but that doesn't include playing a game in Vegas, because that's not home or away.
Oh, okay. Well, it is somebody's home game.
Paris.
Well, that's somebody's home game.
Playing at Dewsbury because your picture's got mould or something. Magic, which may or may not happen.
I don't know what. I mean, I understand that there are teams every year that get injuries to key players that seem never ending, and Matt Frawley went off at half time and they'd already lost Tuilola here for the season. But I don't know. I can only commend St Helens for the way they went about their business. I don't get Huddersfield this year. Injuries notwithstanding, and Luke Robinson not having the opportunity to, I think, exert any influence on that team yet.
Hasn't everyone got injuries though?
Yeah.
And it doesn't help when one of your players wins this week's Burke of the Week award.
Not for dissent.
After Tyrone May last week, this week it's Tane Mild, who not only managed to get a yellow card for giving away a penalty while in possession, but also has picked up a ban for foul and abusive language towards match officials. So well done, Tane Mild. You have done really well. Huddersfield, of course, who their big pre-season signing. Tom Burgess is back, not in the 17th. So.
That's the bit I don't understand.
Kieran Rush looked good.
Good.
He looked all right. George Flanagan Jr., having had the big ups last week, best player in the world, not his best game this week. But I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying
because he's a young kid who's
I'm not saying he's no
trade.
good.
No.
It's just we build everyone up one week and then you can't just do that. Just let them play.
And it is the standard of opposition. So doing incredibly well against a Catalan team that's short of confidence and not being able to play very well against a St Helens team that's trampling all over you. I can understand that. Owen Dagnall again.
Well, it's just lovely. Should have passed though, shouldn't he?
Yeah,
should have passed to Harry Robertson.
Because he had to score after that.
That's really greedy.
But
that's
what wingers do. Wingers that are natural try-scoring wingers. That yes, they need to learn when to pass, but it is about getting another try under their belt. Martin Afai was like that. He wouldn't have passed.
And the BBC have put it on their Twitter, and everyone can watch it now, so that's good. How old is Owen Dagnall? I'm trying to find out.
He's teenage. He's 18.
So another
19.
one.
Yeah.
So where's the line? It's like this is the golden thread through this programme. Where is the line? What's the difference? Because if we're saying that one set of players isn't good,
it's the systems that you've come through and what you're prepared for, and that's what Salford haven't got. And somebody needs to obviously take responsibility for that, and why they were allowed not to have it but still be in Super League.
Well, I've completely broken the recording of this programme, so that's even better. But he's signed at St Helens until 2028.
Wow.
He's 19 years old. From the world-renowned Saints Academy. Is it, though? Is it world renowned?
I don't know about
Is it
world.
world renowned?
It's certainly.
Is it world renowned?
It's certainly European renowned.
It's all talking about in Prague.
I'm not sure that Penrith are looking enviously over their shoulder at the St Helens Academy.
This programme fully endorses the use of rice cookers. Thursday in Super League, it's Leeds versus Hull Kingston Rovers.
That'll be a belter.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Absolute belter.
The Reece Martin derby.
And the fact that Leeds beat Hull KR at Sewell Craven Park last time they played, they'll hold no fear. I think they're expecting about 17,000 people there. It'd be a fantastic atmosphere and a great marker for Leeds more than Hull KR. I think Hull KR, as I said earlier, have won the League Leaders' Shield with their result at Wigan. This is a big one if Leeds seriously have pretensions of being in the top two.
On Friday in the Championship, Sheffield versus Super League Bradford Bolts. Lee versus Salford, potentially.
We think.
I mean, if that game doesn't happen, what's he going to say on Twitter?
We've got issues if that doesn't happen.
Well, then I'll come back to it in a minute. St Helens versus Hull, as said, so that's Friday as well.
Decent game.
Saturday, Catalans Castleford.
That again is good for all the wrong reasons.
Contractual obligations. St Helens versus Barrow in the Women's Super League. In the Championship, Toulouse, York, and Fev Widnes.
Toulouse, York, massive, huge.
Will it be 17 in a row?
And the week after is, I think, Bradford Toulouse.
Wow. Sunday, Huddersfield Warrington, Wigan Wakefield.
That'd be a great game.
I could go to that.
That'd be a great game.
I'm not going to do, but I could. York, Wigan, and the
obviously
Women's
Wakefield have had a week off.
Yeah, we're bad after the week off.
You'll be able to rip into a Wigan team that's still hurting.
But Mr. Powell said we're rubbish after the week off.
He's
So
got
if we win this week,
he's got the opportunity to put that right.
In the Women's Super League, York, Wigan in Newcastle.
Good, because it's showing off the sport at elite level in the North East.
Lee Leeds and Huddersfield Warrington.
Didn't they play each other the other week?
Hang on a minute. Huddersfield Warrington in the Men's Super League kicks off at 3 o'clock. Now, if the BBC are to be believed, and I trust the BBC. I'm one of these people who goes on the internet and say, I don't trust the BBC.
It's Sunday afternoon.
Right? Huddersfield versus Warrington, Women's Super League, Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock.
At a different location in the same town.
Which idiot? I know I shouldn't say idiot.
Well, it's because, again, they don't have
Which
access.
moron has come up with that?
But they don't have access to their pitch, do they?
But play it at played at 12. Lay on buses so people can... Ken, if you're watching, all that money you've spent on Tom Burgess, who's sitting in the stand doing nothing...
Or even reseeding Halifax.
You build your women's team up.
Start at 12, put on some buses from Laund Hill, invite all the Warrington fans that want to watch... Oh, no, there aren't any Warrington fans that want to watch the women's team at the moment.
Why would you kick off?
And the fact is, Huddersfield women are likely to win that game as well. Coordination.
I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe the kick-off time is wrong. But I'm going to suggest it's not. Championship, Doncaster Barrow, Hunslet Batley, London Oldham, two teams who are Super League ready.
To be.
League One, Midlands Keighley. Swinton Rochdale, the Andy Maisie derby. Make sure he stays off social media. Don't want to get him fined.
Greater Manchester.
Versus Greater Manchester, yeah. Crusaders versus Gull.
That should be good.
And Newcastle versus Whitehaven. So they're playing after York and Wigan. Well, it should be the other way around. But,
I think York and Wigan is the curtain raiser to Newcastle and Whitehaven.
So that's the Rugby League this week, and that's it. That is the programme. Apologies for our technical issues. If you're listening on the podcast, you won't have noticed them. But if you're watching on the internet, it's buggered. Can't blame. I'll blame myself. It's my fault. So we'll be back next week on Tuesday because it's a bank holiday.
And I do believe the person in Tenerife will be back.